Okay, so we start now?
We start now, dude.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, welcome to Jeremiah Wonders. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's I admire and respect you.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed your presence.
It's been cool getting to know you through the Comedy Store and
Yeah, dude,
through
cool,
Kill Tony, and you've done stand up on the spot, my improvised stand up show a couple times.
Yeah.
You're actually one of my favorite performers on that show. But when people ask me like who are your some of your favorite guys that you've had on, and you're always one of the names that I say.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, you're one of those guys who, if you've never seen the show, comics take suggestions from the audience and yell out words, and Steve is one of those guys who you just have a story, or I like the way your brain works and takes you kind of from A to C, so it's kind of cool to see.
Well, I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. And we're also joined by another friend of yours, Scott Randolph.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude.
Scott Randolph, international star in his own right.
Yeah.
Mile High Club member.
Oh, nice. Will you bring that up just a little bit to your...
Testing.
Yeah.
He says
Love
Mile High Club member. That's so great. Like, who isn't a Mile High Club member, right? Except the thing is with Scott, he got laid in his seat with someone who he met after getting on the airplane.
What?
That's the fucking most legendary shit ever.
Can you explain how you're just a G and that just happens
It's
to you?
basically on camera, everything except the actual act.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was sitting
And
in...
the chick was so hot, too.
She was so hot.
So hot.
She was unbelievable.
And yeah, I'll never forget it. It's on camera. Like, we're walking out. I'm filming myself walking onto this plane. We had business class on British Airways, which means that, like, the aisle seats have the aisle, and then the middle section have seats that are next to each other and with partitions. And I didn't want to have a random stranger sitting next to me, you know? Like, I wanted that aisle seat, so I'm, like, on my own partition, you know, like... And Scott's sitting in my seat when I walk on the airplane. I'm like, what are you doing in my seat, dick? Like, or whatever. Like, so I make him get in the middle section. As soon as he sits down in the middle section, up strolls, like, the hottest chick that, like...
Just smoking hot Venezuelan.
Dude, so hot. And then she just sits down right next to him. And Scott's like, he gives me this look. It's fucking so funny. And they're just hitting it off. And sure enough, man, like, the lights went out. The partitions went up. And
Within 2 hours.
Within 2 hours, an actual boning went down.
Dude.
Plus, she was raving about the size of his wiener and everything. Like,
and it's all on camera, and you're like, gold. You're like, we're filming this, right? And can I get a copy of this for my reel, too?
Most people, they join the Mile High Club with their girlfriend in the bathroom, something like that, you know?
Right.
I once humped a girl on an airplane who I met at the gate. You know, Wee Man was talking to her at the gate, and I
swooped in?
And I swooped in, yeah. That one was at London's Heathrow Airport, and
was Jason pissed? Was he like game recognized game?
He certainly wasn't pissed. Like
International travel's the best.
Dude, that was a fucking flight from London to Nairobi. And it's like you go to Africa, and it's like, okay, it's a good time to cool off on the promiscuity, you know? So,
what was the time frame between
it
you meeting her?
It was pretty mellow, and there weren't a lot of people flying to Nairobi, and it was a large airplane. So there were like some 5 seats in the row in the middle section.
Yeah.
You know, and there were full empty sections. So we're like, oh, we'll sit here. And so it was just me and this chick with like 5 seats, you know, and we put a blanket over ourselves. So we were kind of like fooling around under the blanket. And it was like, oh, screw it, let's just go to the bathroom, you know. And so we went to the bathroom and boned in there. I remember too thinking it was weird because I had like rubbers and we put on a rubber and boned, but she wouldn't give me a Hummer without a rubber. Which I suppose is probably like, like wise thinking. Like
Gotta have a rubber if you gotta get a Hummer from this chick.
I know, dude. I don't get it, man. I remember being like kind of like sad about that, but like
I still think about that sometimes. Like taking you back, like actually, you know what? There's a place in my heart where I'm very sad still.
Yeah,
it's raining outside. It might have been caused from that.
the blowjob that got away.
Right? No.
So how long did it take you to boner from the takeoff?
Oh, from the takeoff to the boning? Like, I'm thinking it was reasonably quick. Yeah, I think it's pretty fucking fast, yeah.
Well, you don't have to use condoms anymore because you just actually came from getting a vasectomy.
Well, no, I got the vasectomy like the first week of March.
Okay. So this was the test to see if they were
correct,
still swimmers or not.
Yeah, I've had this idea forever, and it's like an old idea. I had to get a vasectomy and do a bunch of dumb stuff and get hit in the nuts and like right after the vasectomy, like the ultimate nut shot.
Oh.
And fuck, I don't have kids, and my girl doesn't want to have kids. And now we're engaged and.
Congrats, by the way. You did that recently in Denver, right?
I did, yeah.
That was a big weekend for you.
It really was, yeah.
I mean, you filmed a special. You proposed to your girlfriend.
That's right.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was epic. But yeah, so I was kind of wondering, like, with all the shots I've taken to the nuts, is there anything like even swimming in there? Like people think, can you have kids with all the nuts? And I've always said that I think that a lot of nut shots, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I never imagined that I would have a lower sperm count because I've been kicked in the balls a lot. I think that what getting kicked in the balls a lot does create a concern for is testicular cancer. I think you can get ball cancer. Like you're more likely to get ball cancer the more you've been hit in the balls. I believe that to be true.
Tom Green told you that. And you asked him, he was like, you're like, you can get cancer from getting kicked in the balls? And he's like, yeah.
Something, yeah. So that's the, like, so once I heard that, I really tried to like save nut shots for special occasions. and
start putting nut shots on layaway. Like, listen, guys, I really want to give this to you right now, but this isn't a special enough moment for me to do it.
Right, 100%. It's like barfing. I used to barf a lot.
Well, isn't that, really bad for the vocal cords, right?
I have vocal cords, and it's more like my esophagus.
Right.
I'm very predisposed for esophageal cancer because acid reflux. Like I have a condition in my esophagus called Barrett's esophagus, and it's really like full pre-cancer. So barfing is much the same. It's got to be like a really special occasion. I actually try not to barf at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've done it so much over the years where it's like you're like I think I can
bulimic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, how did Steve-O get so shredded? Dude, he freaking all these stunts, man.
Yeah, it was hard. Just barfing. But I forget where we even were. But yeah, okay, so this is my sperm count. I wanted to, before I get my vasectomy, to go to the fertility clinic and get a sperm count. Mm-hmm. And my theory was correct that I think that the average is somewhere between 20 and 30 million sperm per milliliter of jizz. And I clocked in at 51 million. And I was happy to know that. I was happy to go there and have them put my sperm under the microscope so that we could see them swimming and wave goodbye, which is ceremonial.
So you had over twice the amount.
I think so, yeah.
Of the normal. Dude, heck yeah, man.
I know, dude.
Potent sperm, bro. That's freaking dope.
Yeah, dude. Proving another theory of mine. I am exceptionally talented at pulling out. Yeah, I know how to time it, dog. And just as a sort of a formality, not because I'm interested in changing my mind about having kids, but so that I could like maybe come up with a funny Han Solo joke, I did get the load frozen for posterity.
Yeah. Are you gonna put it like on like a shelving unit or something, like lit and everything, like a shrine?
Yeah. That would be kind of cool. Maybe just in the little shrine in the freezer.
Yeah, Steve-O's last load.
Yeah, they broke it up into 3 different vials. Pretty amazing. They had enough jizz to put on a microscope slide to do the sperm count, have it
Yeah.
under the microscope, and then after that same load divided up into 3 different vials to be frozen if I wanted to attempt an artificial insemination
Oh, at a
3
later
different.
date?
Yeah, they unfreeze it. You gotta. I mean, people don't even want to eat seafood if, like, they're like, salmon fillet has been frozen and then thawed. Why would you want to get a kid, like, from a fucking frozen and thawed load? Like, that's just counterintuitive to me. But speaking of size of load, it's amazing that they could break it up into 3 different vials because I'm not a large volume kind of guy, and I know that because Scott and I went up head to head. We had 3 criteria. It was
Speed.
the duration that it took to crank out the load in the room.
Okay.
I smoked him. It took like 6 minutes, dude.
To bust one out?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the cameras are all outside the door, and he's like, "Okay, go." And then he's like, "Scott, hurry up."
Now,
It's
is
like,
there a sheet between you guys, or
Like,
are you making eye
he's in the room.
contact?
He's in the room. Dude, it's so fucking hilarious. You're in like a proper medical facility with like and it's a nice one too. You
Yeah.
know, like everything's really nice and formal and then you go into this private room, and they've got just a fucking row of fucking porno DVDs, because, like, it's a fertility clinic, I was checking out the titles today. Beaver bashing. That was my favorite one, beaver bashing.
I think that's the one I watched when I went in there last time.
He actually put on a DVD.
Did you-
And took 6 minutes. Dude, all I have to do is look
He's
at the
waiting for the story, the plot, everything. He's watching. You're like, what are you doing?
All I had to do was just look at the cover of the DVD. I'm like, oh.
Is that the one you chose to watch, Beaver
I
Bashers?
forget what the one that got me off was, but it was the same one this time as it was last time. So I went back today to and Scott's got a lot of volume. Scott's got a lot of volume. There's other criteria too. It's called motility, which is how much they move around. Then there's shape of the sperm itself. I forget if my shape or my motility, we're opposite of each other. I'm good motility and bad shape, maybe, or not great shape.
He's
good
regular,
shape,
you're
and I'm in
goofy.
bad
Yeah.
motility. Yeah. Right. But yeah, so after you get the vasectomy, then, like, you're supposed to wait like 6 weeks, because even though they've cut the sperm are made in your balls. And the vas deferens is the tube that delivers from each ball. You have 2 vas deferens, and it delivers the sperm to your wiener, which provides the goo, And so they cut the vas deferens. Now, after having done that, still you're going to have stragglers that were on the other side of the tube for up to 6 weeks. So they say
It's that potent?
yeah, I mean, who knows, man? Like I didn't go get a fucking vasectomy to like accidentally get my chick pregnant.
Right, of course.
So we went by the books. And
Yeah.
today was it's been 6 weeks, and I went there, and sure enough, fucking barren wasteland. Not even a corpse on the battlefield.
That's gotta be a good feeling.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking hump and dump time, dude. Yeah, hump and dump.
Hump and dump.
Hump and dump. Yeah.
Can I
dude.
read the text that you
Sure.
that you sent me on the way over here? So Steve-O texts me, like, I'm figuring out like different times and stuff when he's gonna get here, and then he goes,
Just got done blowing a load at the fertility clinic after my vasectomy to make sure there's 0 sperm in my jizz, so my girl and I can always hump and dump. ETA is 12:13 p.m.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
For sure. So
Hump
yeah,
and
dude.
dump.
So and here's the thing, man. Like, and I'm excited to walk through, like, where I'm at building a new act, And bless your heart, dude. You're so fucking quick and genius with comedy, man. Like, I really rely on just sheer recklessness and shamelessness, Like, I love the way your mind works. And the vasectomy Olympics is a big bit. Like, my whole new act, after having just, taped this new special,
Which, you showed me a sneak peek of, and it's awesome, man. I'm really excited for people to see it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really went for it, and married my worlds where like the stand-up has footage integrated into it. So all the stories I'm telling happen on camera.
That's what I liked about it a lot, is because I think it'd be like honestly kind of weird if you didn't. It's like when somebody doesn't acknowledge something that like they're very talented at, and they're like, I'm just going to do something completely different. You married the two, so it's super enjoyable for your fans and viewers to watch, and people who have never seen your stand-up before. They're like, oh, he does all these stunt stuff, and he's good at stand-up and storytelling. Man. That's awesome.
Well, thanks, bro. And so, yeah, the name of that special is Gnarly because there's so much footage integrated into the stand-up, like so much interstitial footage to illustrate all of the stories and jokes. I used a fair amount of footage from like Jackass and Wild Boys and Comedy Central, Charlie Sheen roast, and stuff that I'm not the copyright owner of. And I funded the whole thing, the whole project myself to sell afterwards. And I thought I would be approaching Comedy Central and Paramount and stuff like to get to license footage to include the clips, but I was told that they have like this fair usage law. They said don't go and try and license everything. Like first consult with the clearance attorney and have him determine if everything's fair usage. And I did, and he says it is. And so I'm applying, because I didn't want to take it to buyers and have them be all excited about, oh, this is fucking great. And then it turned out I can't use,
Well, it's great, but we can't use any of the footage. And,
so I'm getting the whole thing insured with the clearance attorney, the whole thing. And that's where I'm at. And as soon as I'm really close to being ready to start selling it, which is exciting.
Dude.
And I'm already into my next act. I've got like 15 minutes of fire of the new act. And my new act starts, I say, I'm in a fucked up situation. I'm Steve-O from Jackass in my 40s. And it can only go one of two ways. Either I hang up the jockstrap or, maybe hang up the jockstrap's not funny because it's, I don't want to wear a jockstrap. But
you hang up the man thong?
Cheetah thong?
Hang up my hang up my cheetah thong and call it quits. Or shit's got to get seriously fucked up. And I don't know any other way. So I find myself digging into what I call the bucket list, which is a bunch of largely ideas that I've had for a long fucking time, none of which happened for really good reasons,
Yeah.
Like the vasectomy Olympics, it was just I wasn't like ready to pull the trigger on that, and now it's like, okay, fuck it. So I got it, and we covered it, and it was intense.
So that was one of the things on your bucket list. Yeah. And you're like, I've always wanted to do this, but I'm gonna push this off for a bit.
Sure, and there was skyjacking, which was like whenever anybody would ask me about, like, hey, have you want to go skydiving? I was like, no, fuck no, everybody does that,
Yeah.
Grandmas do that. That's how I would say, if I'm going to go skydiving, I'm going to fucking be butt-ass naked for my very first jump, where you've got the tandem instructor strapped on your back.
Yeah.
So I'm butt naked. I'm going to fucking jack off with him on my back. Like, I'm going to not blow a load for like a super long time, like maybe 4 days.
Maybe 6 minutes, like Scott Randolph over here.
I know, but I mean like build up a load for days, like maybe 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's like the biggest.
So you get
load
that Randolph consistency, dude. You get that.
Yeah, dude. And then like jack off in the airplane with the guy on my back, and then like, oh, dude, I'm gonna tell you the funniest fucking. So then when I reach the point of no return, like the first squirt, I throw the laptop like with the porno on it, just throw it out of the airplane and dive after it, fucking cranking out this load as I fall through the sky, And
you got to watch Beaver Bashers up there.
Yeah, Beaver Bashers. Yeah.
Scott's just like sitting eating popcorn, skydiving with you, just watching the plot how it unfolds.
Scott's like, jacking off with me. But, so I'm cranked. So now, like, I'm taping that special. And for my grand entrance, I'm gonna like come through the crowd and dive onto the stage, and I'm back in the back of the theater behind the bar, just ready, like if they're about to fucking announce me, and I'm fucking like, and I'm just focusing. But this kid spots me. He's like, yo, Steve-O, dude. And I'm thinking, not now, dude. I don't want to fucking deal with this fucking kid right now. It's not the time, dude. And I'm ignoring him, pretending I don't hear and then he goes, dude, you gotta go skydiving. I'm a skydive instructor. And I'm like, okay, this is too important.
He's like, I gotta stop everything.
I gotta stop everything. I go over to tell the kid my idea. From beginning to end, like the whole, I tell him real quick, and he's got the whole idea, like fucking conveyed to him, and he looks at me like just this fucking like look on his face. I can't even tell what the expression is, and he goes, "Dude, you can totally come all over me." That's the best joke. See, that's my comedy. Is just shit that actually happened, dude. Like I don't fucking have that like come up. I'm very like light on the way you do it.
I think that kid is actually calling into the show right now.
Oh yeah.
Hello, is this the skydiving instructor?
Hello? Hey, I just want to reconfirm, that offer is still good, Steve-O.
Oh, I know, dude. I've been in total. I got your number like right away. Dude, I've been in contact with this kid for sure.
No, listen. Once you blow the load, if I capture it, can I save it for posterity and show it to my friends?
Dude. You find all you do. There's nothing swimming in there, man. I wonder if there's even DNA in it.
Yeah, what's in there?
It's just like mucus. Like it would have to. Everything's got DNA, I think, but yeah, it's on with this kid, man.
All right, well, I'll see you soon, dude.
Yeah, sweet, man. I can't wait, dude. I'm gonna fucking fire up a hot batch for you.
That guy sounds super stoked about the situation.
He is, dude. He is so stoked. We almost flew him to Puerto Rico to try and pull it off there, but we couldn't get a plane. Nobody was down.
Nobody's down to. Can you imagine like him,
dude, we tried our
telling
ass
his
up.
parents like, "Mom, Dad, I finally got my dream job."
Yeah.
Steve-O's gonna blow a fat load in the sky while I'm right behind him.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. It's such a dope. Yeah, the bucket list is all pretty serious shit, man. Like, there's nothing mellow on there. And I'm trying to come up with more because the thing is, like you saw the last special, I was telling stories and jokes with like the footage cut in, and a lot of it was like archival, and I didn't want it to be all old and down memory lane stuff. So I did a bunch of new, so it would be like an old bit, a new bit, an old bit, a new bit. But this next one is just going to be straight all new, and it's going to be all new, and there's like virtually zero stand up that doesn't pertain specifically to a bit, which is a Jackass bit, like,
wow.
So I got like skyjacking, fucking shit hits the fan, like the fucking like, vasectomy Olympics, it goes on and on, but it's like as a comedian, I'm going to walk you through like, a fucking solo fucking artist Jackass movie almost,
your life
like
experiences, your process with all these different
everything, and the premise of everything is like it's the bucket list, I gotta fucking knock it out and shit because I'm in my 40s and like shit's gotta be just so fucking, the bar's so high. And also there's a component of it that like now that I've kind of grown up and I'm a little bit more like socially conscious, like, like morally motivated. Like I want to have, like affect positive change kind of a deal, And so that was why when I went to Puerto Rico, the motivation for the trip was to participate in a sterilization clinic where they spayed and neutered 1,000 dogs, because the stray population's just blowing up since the hurricane.
Control. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool. That's time to get the vasectomy. So I'm down there. I'm like, I believe in this cause so much. I'm getting fixed too. So I tied it together. So the whole vasectomy thing is like this, like sort of socially conscious thing where I'm trying to affect.
It's a bigger effort rather than just like a singular.
So that's like the, kind of the format, the matrix, like whatever, like that's what I'm after. And skyjacking, I mean, I don't know. Skyjacking's gonna. That you're on a hot fucking project when the fucking opening bit is skyjacking.
Yeah, when that's the opener. It's like, where is Steve-O going from here? It's like,
I'm Steve-O and I'm skyjacking.
Right. That's where the bar's at for me these days. So Fuck, man.
So you also, I think while you're in Puerto Rico, you're doing a lot of the work with the shelters, and you like rescued a dog, right?
This was I rescued Wendy in Peru.
In Peru.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you have you always had an affinity and a love for animals? Because you've gotten more into it recently. It's really cool. Like what you've been doing
Sure, man.
with different animal projects. So do you want to talk about that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, whatever, dude. Like, I'm a animal guy. Like, I love promoting like fucking veggie diet. Plant based. Like, adopt. Like spay and neuter. Don't go to SeaWorld. Basic shit. If it's about animal rights, I'm pretty behind it. Even though I fucking hate vegans. Like, they're so fucking annoying. Like I hate to be an annoying vegan. Like, I'd like to just sort of be like an animal guy.
Yeah.
But what drives me fucking crazy is I don't know, just the fucking annoying vegan thing. But
so how long have you been vegan?
Dude, I'm in and out. I'm moving target. I'm on a little bit of a fish kick now. I've been on and off of that. Like and like whatever. I'll let dairy squeeze in. I'm not as like, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, no, militant. Fucking, it's got to be 100% vegan. But whatever, dude. Like I'm just generally like, compassion motivated. And I got 4 dogs, 2 cats. Like my house is pretty absurd with animals running around.
I've seen some of your Instagram posts whenever you have them all like on the bed.
Yeah.
Those are pretty fun pictures.
Yeah, but whatever, man. The funny thing, dude, I'm like, it's kind of another bit, but it's like I gotta figure it out. Wendy is the dog I found in the streets of Peru, and she's like a bona fide celebrity in her own right because just how viral the video of me, finding her in the streets of Peru and bringing her home to America. And since then, like, I wanted to have her become like a service animal, like certified, so I could bring her around.
Yeah.
Because I thought, like, she's used to having the freedom of roaming the streets, and then all of a sudden I'm going to coop her up in my house. Like, is that fair? Like, and I thought a good compromise would be I'll bring her home and get her certified as a service animal so that she's got freedom and can roam around with me. And so I looked into, like, what does it take to certify a dog that way? And there's no fucking such thing. Can you believe it? There's no such thing as certification for a service dog. This blew my mind. There is no fucking regulation. There is no fucking certificate. There is no fucking test.
Then how do people
just say it? You
really?
know? Yeah.
It's an honor system?
Pretty much, yeah. So like, and this is fucking
It's
pretty
all
funny,
bullshit.
man. Like, as soon as I brought her, by the time she was fucking like, she came from Peru to LA in the cargo underneath the plane in a crate, which is rough, man. I hate that she had to do that, but it was the only way. I had that fucking dude. She walked out of that fucking crate at the airport into a service dog vest. She was like, that vest got to the fucking my house before she did. Like, I picked her up at the airport with the service. I just put it on. She's straight off the fucking
That was her
streets.
first step in America, was into the service animal
Dude,
vest.
straight off the fucking streets of Peru and into the service dog vest. I went from the airport where I picked her up to my fucking dental, just like dental cleaning, and I'm like, oh, sterile environment, fucking put on your gloves and your mask and fucking in with the surgical fucking dentist equipment, and Wendy just marches right in and just sits down. I'm like, yeah, it's my street dog, like, they can't say shit. And like, the thing about the service dog vest that's so unbelievable is that it comes with it's what I call fuck you cards. Like, it says like, basically, like, out of our way, like, handler, the fucking service dog. Like, federal law states 2 important components of the law, which is you're not allowed to ask me what my disability is. It's not your fucking business. It's fucking, like, I have my right to my privacy.
Yeah.
So, like, just shut the fuck up and get out of my way. This is my service dog. Like, don't even like ask. You're not allowed to ask me what's my disability.
Right.
Do I need the dog? And as that's per me and per the dog, you're not allowed to ask for the dog to demonstrate any ability or training at all, because fuck you, that's not your business, dude. And if you say it's a service dog, like then they just can't say shit. They have to just shut the fuck up and get out of your way.
I used to work at Starbucks, and back in the day, and there would be a lot of people who'd come in with service animals.
Sure,
and you're not allowed to.
And I bring Wendy on the airplane, and this is where it gets kind of heartbreaking, is because like here I'm on the airplane, and I've got her on my lap. She's a big old dog, and I just want her on my lap all the time, and like I'm sitting in the aisle seat, and my girl is like next to me. Like, we fly a lot, so we get, like, free upgrades. And if we get the upgrade ahead of time, then I'll bring Wendy. You know, because there's just more room in first class. Plus, you don't even have to fucking buy a ticket. You don't have to buy the dog a ticket. You don't have to pay anything extra.
Oh, really?
Nothing. Here's the other thing about the federal law regarding service dogs is that they view it, the federal law views the dog like for a person with a disability, ostensibly, like the theory is that the dog is actually like has the rights of the person. The dog is technically in the eyes of the law an extension of the person. The dog and the person become one in the eyes of the law. So there's no separate fucking ticket to bring the dog in the plane. There's no fee to bring the dog in the plane. You can bring the dog in fucking coach riding, bitch. That was our first flight.
You brought the dog in coach?
Yeah, And it
what were people's reactions around you? Like,
who cares?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and she was not. She's gotten better because here's what happened. And dude, I'm sitting in the aisle seat. The flight attendant says, like, hey, can you move the dog to the window seat? I would appreciate it because I've been bitten by 2 service dogs already.
Whoa.
You know, like people are just throwing the vest on the dog, and the dog's attacking other dogs, attacking kids, attacking flight attendants. You know, like there's a lot of that.
I wonder if there's dudes selling like vests on Craigslist and stuff like that.
You don't even need to go on
Craigslist. There's nothing special about it. You go on Amazon.
It's like $79.
Go on Amazon. Like go on there's nothing. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to do shit. Plus, they give you a fake registration card. Like, I forget, what was it? I went to activedog.com. Activedog.com, and they're just like, oh yeah, upload a picture just so that it's on the fucking card. They don't care. Upload a picture, whatever, and so you can pull out like, oh, here's your registration thing. It actually tucks into the vest itself, so it looks all official. There's nothing fucking behind it at all. And the thing was that like as I brought her around and I got her the fucking all the restaurants, the airplanes, the comedy clubs, the radio stations, I don't fucking care. She goes with me everywhere. But I felt like not good about it, like I'm like a 12-step dude and I can't really like do shit that I fucking feel is not morally like solid.
Sure.
Which is like a weird thing to hear Steve-O say, but it's the way I got to live my life. And so I felt like conflicted about it, and actually decided on my own initiative to get Wendy with actual service dog trainers. And so she's like been in and out of training for months now. She's really coming along. And the idea is for her to be a service dog instructor. This is where it just stops being funny, but whatever. Like, so now, like, if you see me with Wendy and her service dog vest, like at the airport, like actually fuck off.
You're like, I've done the steps now.
Plus, I know like 100% of the lingo because now I'm in with the service dog training community. Like, not that there's a big community, but like the best dudes in the world.
There's like an underground gang.
Right, like the top dog trainers like in the planet, like on the planet, are like my bros, and. So we like know, like we actually give a fuck about like, being legit,
Yeah.
So it's rad.
How long have you been sober now?
10 years, like just past 10 years.
Congrats,
on March
man.
10th.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. Looking back, does it feel like now that you're in your 40s now, does it feel like a different lifetime whenever?
Well, yeah. I mean, and Scott's got 5 years.
Congrats, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
Here's the thing about it, it's not even really a question of age, even though it is, but like, I'm so fortunate, man. I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful, and this might sound weird, but that I got the fucking alcoholism and the addiction so bad, alcoholism and drug addiction is probably the only disease that like. You want to have it fucking, the worse you have it, like the better off you are. Like if you're going to have alcoholism or addiction, you want to have it fucking terribly bad. That's the best case scenario because, like, it was black and white for me, you know, like it came to a point where I just couldn't continue. Like it had to stop.
Yeah.
You know,
rather than you being functioning and you can like keep letting it go and stuff like that.
If you've got like a you know, what is that? A touch of the disease, you know, like
just a skosh.
Just enough to keep.
Yeah. Just a teaspoon.
If you've got just enough.
Think of those little spoons at the ice cream shops. Like,
sure.
Can I just get a sample of disease, please? Some alcoholism, some drug addiction. I just wanna try it a little bit.
Right. If you've got just enough for it to like be a hindrance, you know, to fucking slow you down, to distract you, to fucking waste your time, to keep you from being motivated, then like all of a sudden there you go. You just got. How many people do I know that they don't have it bad enough that they've got to do something about it, and so what they're doing is just fucking the years are just falling away from them. Their life is slipping through their fucking fingers, man, and they're just not getting shit done, and they're fucking distracted, and they're fucking blowing opportunities. And like, fuck that, dude. I'm so lucky that I had it terribly bad, and bad enough that I know that when I'm in this like program of recovery, that's the biggest house in the block. That's what comes first. Like when they talk about practicing the principles of the 12 steps, like that's the code that I have to live by, because like that's like, you know, my life depends on it. And so as a result, I've now been like really for 10 years like largely pretty fucking like focused and on point, you know. Granted, like one addiction like fucking pops up in the wake of another, you know, like with drugs and alcohol, and the next thing you know, it's fucking sex. It's fucking for you know, like I ended up in the fucking sex program too, dude. Like, and thank God I did that, because had I not gone into the sex addict rehab and really dove in like hardcore addressed the sex, you know, like compulsive sexual acting out, like I wouldn't have had a fucking hope of being in a relationship. I wouldn't be engaged now. You know, that took some serious fucking work, and I had to take on like the sex behavior in like every bit, the vigilance of the approach of the drugs and alcohol. You know, so now I've been like gifted with the ability to have a healthy relationship. It's fucking epic, you know. And
it's like you said.
And so now it's fucking food. Now it's food, dude.
Right.
I went to my. Well, I don't want to say that, but I checked out the food program for the first time, dude. You know, and now I'm like, dude, we're
both fat.
I won't even speak for Scott. I had the fucking doctor before I went to Peru on that one job. They sent me for a physical, and the doctor calls up and he's like, "Yo, dude, you're what they call skinny fat. You don't appear like fat or obese, but like you've got fat all over your organs. You've got pre-diabetes. What? Fucking if you don't fucking exercise." Because I just started like, dude, I'm like, I don't have to exercise. Like,
yeah,
I don't exercise.
Yeah.
And even though I'm like, whatever, you know, like skinny fat, fucking, you can see it a little bit. And he's like, yeah, and dude, I'm out of control with the fucking sugar. Like, you can be a vegan and a fucking slob. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, it might even be harder because
Oreos are vegan, you know?
Yeah.
And where I say I let dairy slide, like, dude, like, fuck, I'm out of control with food. You know, right now I'm like I'm on like, you know, I'm either fucking like some kind of anorexic bullshit like spectrum, or I'm just fucking slob central. And that's the thing, dude. So, but it's hold on. Do I want to answer this? It might be my new glasses. Hello?
Was it?
If you qualify, you can get both the
It's a scam.
The home refinance.
Fucking asshole. How did that not say scam likely?
I don't know.
Dude, isn't it dope when the phone says scam
I'm
likely?
like, heck yeah.
Yeah, I never answer those.
And I'm so fucking pissed that I'm really pretty good about not fucking. Dude, I'm blocking that shit right now, dude. Block this caller. Fuck you.
Yeah, right. Take
No,
that,
right in the
dude.
middle of a conversation. That's the word. Take that, dude.
Yeah, take that. You're freaking done. Yeah, that got freaking recorded, dude.
I showed them.
Yeah, right. I'll never refinance my home. Take that.
Yeah, dude. So in any case, man, it's just rad, dude, because It's all progress.
Did
man.
that fuel you? Because I think that kind of fueled you to start doing stand up a little bit, right? Whenever you
I tried stand up before I got sober.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2006. Skylar Stone asked me to do a stunt at the fucking
This comedy rock show.
It was the Laugh Factory at that time,
Okay.
like 2006. The press machine was starting to rev up for our second Jackass movie at that time, and I was like out of my mind on fucking drugs. I remember to have like fucking just crates of nitrous oxide whippets and a vodka bottle, and I fucking like when I wrote my first like set, which was like pretty funny shit at the time. Like all of the whatever, there's potential there, you know.
Yeah.
Like the premise for the act was how to make it in Hollywood, and I had bullet points, 3 bullet points: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Oh wait, sorry, no, sex, drugs, and I forget, or sex. I don't know.
That was your first set list, was sex, drugs.
Well, yeah. and I was like, and at the time, all of the tabloid magazines, it was like, you know, like various celebrities were like shockingly, like, you don't see it as much these days, but it's like shockingly thin, like they're like, you know, and that was the deal. And I was like, one of my jokes was you know, like, you know, hey, Hollywood, it's so fucking cool, you know, like, I've been here for a while, I'm really grateful, like, you know, I think I really know, like, how to make it. Like, for example, you know, if you see, like, you know, what's going on with a lot, if you want to be successful in Hollywood, we see that you have to eat. You gotta eat Vicodin, you gotta eat Valium, you gotta eat Xanax, you know, like, you know, like, whatever, like, and I was, like, had like, you know, like sex, this and that, like it was pretty fucking dope. But that was my second time trying it, and actually I like wrote it.
How'd it go over?
I wrote a set, and it went like reasonably well for what it was. It went reasonably well. I still have it on camera, and you know, I had it filmed. I posted it on YouTube. But it's like, okay, that's done. And, like, you know, the idea of like honing an act didn't occur
Did you
to
look
me.
at that almost as like another stunt where you're like, it was like a check mark, like I've done stand up now, like going into that first time?
Not as much that, but I was just so out of my mind. The first time I didn't really prepare anything. Like I didn't. How could I prepare? I didn't know I was going to do stand up. I thought I would do a stunt, and I showed up and walked in, and I was like, dude. Fucking, if I go up there and try and do stand up, that's the stunt. That's the craziest fucking thing I can imagine.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting for my turn. I was just like, you know, and I figured out like a couple jokes. I was
Did
like,
you get a similar fear like going into it?
for
where
sure,
you're like,
it's terrifying, you know. And they invited me. They introduced me on the stage, and I was like, hey, everybody, like. I'm dying for a blowjob. Does anybody want one? You know, and like, he has like whatever, like a cheap joke. My feeling was that they were like excited. They were excited to see me, you know, like it was like, oh, Steve-O's here. Like I felt like they were excited to see me. They were rooting for me. Everybody wants to have a good time.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, you know, like they were on my side.
How long did you do?
The first time, maybe like 3 minutes. It was like 3 minutes,
Yeah,
maybe,
it's like
and
quick
like,
set.
and Jamie, the Laugh Factory guy, I remember from the first time he was like, man, you've got something on that stage, so, you know, you've got something special. Like, I'm glad you did that. And I was like, fuck it, I'm coming back. I'm gonna fucking do it, you know. And I scheduled my return, and that was when I sat down with the vodka and wrote the sex, drugs, and rock and roll set, like fucking. I almost want to look at it again, but the thing was that then I was like, after that, I was like, fuck it, I'll do this again. But it didn't occur to me to come back and work on the same act and hone it.
Yeah.
And then the third time I come back, I think I'm just never gonna say the same thing on a comedy club stage.
That's what I start out whenever I did stand up. Like I was like, oh, I never want to repeat myself, and then like
It's
you
the
find
dumbest
out,
thing.
yeah, you find out later. You're like, oh, that's impossible.
If I have a regret in life that, you know, like that I didn't just keep working on that one act, you know, it could have turned into something dope. And I would have had a fucking 4-year head start, you know? But what happened was then the third time I went to the comedy club, I was just like, oh, dude, it's gone so great every time. Like, I've got this, you know, the crowd fucking loves me. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
But I went on there with nothing really prepared. Just like I thought of, like, what's going on? Like, some Steve Irwin had just died, and I was trying to be like the Wild Boy Steve Irwin connection or something. It was just, I died, and it was traumatic. And then I went back a fourth time and I died again, and it was fucking traumatic, dude.
It's hard, man.
And then I was like, it hurt so bad I couldn't go back to it, and I was out of control, and I ended up getting sober.
Now, did bombing on stage, does that hurt sometimes more than a stunt that goes a little bit wrong?
Well, it depends how stunts can go pretty fucking wrong, dude.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
like mentally, I'm saying, like, is it harder, like, as an obstacle mentally? Is it easier to be like, I can go do that stunt again than it might?
right. I mean, there's just so much apples and oranges there that it's tough to, it's tough to answer that. But what was one thing for sure is that I was afraid to go back. I was afraid to go back to do stand up, and then when I got sober. And I took that shit serious. And then I lived in sober living. I lived in a halfway house by choice until I had been sober for 2 years. And that was I just committed myself to it. And in sobriety, recreational activities kind of changed, man. There's no more going to bars. There's no more going to nightclubs, so on your sort of go-to, activity list, I had no reason to go to a bar or a nightclub, but I had every reason to go to a comedy club. Because that's the primary reason to be there, is to watch the show. So, I would go to comedy clubs, pretty regularly, in early sobriety. And the whole time when I was sitting, newly sober, and I'm, fucking watching the show, and the whole time I'm just looking at the stage thinking, fuck, I'm a pussy, man. I fucking should be on that fucking stage, dude. And I'm fucking scared. And then I ended up just going for it, And I dove in hardcore, and so now I'm 8 years in.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah, it's rad, man.
Now, some of the listeners and viewers of this, they know that I do an impression of you.
Of course, yeah.
And I was hoping to do a segment where Steve-O asks Steve-O questions.
Okay. Let's is this the last one, and then there's the
Then there's the sax thing.
The sax thing, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
You
for
gotta
it,
be
man.
running pretty quick?
Sure. Steve-O's gonna ask. Yeah. I bought a fucking treadmill for my dogs, and it's been out in the rain.
Oh, gotcha.
So I want to fucking...
Okay. Here we go. This is
Steve-O versus Steve-O.
So, you remember that time when we were in the ocean and we put a hook through our cheek and sharks went after us? What were we thinking?
Well, I mean, the question is which time, dude? Because, of course,
right.
You remember we did it twice.
Well, yeah, we did. We did do it twice.
Yeah. The first time was with the professional body piercing. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And he put it through, and there wasn't that much shark activity. So then the director
that was a bummer. Yeah.
So when the director came to us and he said, "Hey, I'm looking back at the footage, and it's who the fuck is this weird body piercer? Nobody really wants to fucking see him, and we do well if we got more shark footage. Would you be down to do it again so that we can have just Pontius put the hook through your face and then get more shark footage?" And I said, "Fuck, man, I'm light on footage, dude. I need this. Of course, I'm in.
Let's do this."
Yeah, and that was when Pontius put it through. And the Mako shark.
I wasn't so sure about when Chris put it through our cheek because I was like, dude, he's not a professional. This is scary, dude.
No, he didn't matter, dude. He did great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was nice and clean.
People are always asking us, do we have a scar from where the hook went through? And I'm like, nah, dude.
No.
Yeah, not even, because it was a solid needle. If it was a hollow needle and it took a piece out, maybe, yeah. But it was a solid needle, and we're blessed with good skin. I mean, not blessed. I see it as a curse because we don't get scars, we don't have dope scars. I'll have a fucking an epic wound, and then virtually no fucking scar to show for it. I'm
Dude,
cursed.
People have called us the Wolverine of stunts.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Quite appropriately so.
Do you remember that one time?
By the way, every time a story starts with it, or no, not historically, like traveling through the van or in the van in various countries or whatever. Like there were only a couple times, like a small handful of times, where from the back row of the van there was a giggle, and then all of a sudden, like, did I ever tell you guys about this one time? And that's like Scott saying and starting a story with this one time when I was in high school. Like, because the thing is that we've always been such an open book.
We've been so totally
recklessly honest and shamelessly candid.
Almost to a fault.
Yeah, that there's nothing there's no filter. There's nothing that goes unsaid.
Yeah.
And then so for something to be held back, and then later be, did I ever tell you about this one time? You know, like that. You know, it is so fucking shockingly fucking juicy, and yeah. So you ever know about that? That was like the one time when I giggled and said, did I ever tell you about this one time? And that was the story about how I got my dick sucked by a dude. I mean, it was a dude. It was like a transvestite.
Right. I mean, dude, that technically it doesn't even count.
Right? Well, especially because it was. I was told it was a post-op transsexual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which made us feel a little bit more comfortable.
And I was told it was a hermaphrodite after the operation.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, is that a Greek god? What is that?
Right, like they took away like the male parts, leaving nothing but chick.
Right.
But then I told Dr. Drew, and he was like, nah, there's no such thing as a hermaphrodite.
And then
What happened was a dude sucked your dick.
pretty much. And let's just say I had a Scott Randolph size load that day.
Yeah.
Here's a couple questions from some fans that wrote in. How do you like your jail time following the SeaWorld protest?
Well, it was like fucking me in the fucking fertility clinic booth. It was quick. You know, like, yeah, they really didn't want me in there.
At Judge Fudge 1989 asked, if you could replace any musician in any band and instantly be granted his skills, what band would you play in?
Wow. Past or present?
Any.
Oh, any. I mean, fuck, dude. Like, two things come to mind is just Motley Crue in the 80s, but then, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'd want to be in Motley Crue in the 80s.
Okay. At Java Man 217, what was the best day you had on set with the guys? Hashtag Jackass Crew.
Oh, I don't know. There's not like one thing
There's
that
too
really.
many. I mean, there's two.
Yeah, it's pretty epic shit.
Yeah. Will there ever be another Jackass movie or a movie with the cast all back together?
Yeah, my new comedy special has the whole cast all back together.
That's called Gnarly. We did a great job on that.
Yeah, dude.
And then let's see here. What would you say to anyone who wants to follow their authentic path, even if it's not a traditional path? What are the golden moments in your life that you realize that you are Steve-O?
I don't know. Like, I always say it doesn't matter what you want to do. It just matters how bad you want to do it.
Okay. And final question. Of all the things you put in your mouth, what tasted the worst, what felt the worst, and what hurt the most?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, a different question. You hold citizenship in 3 countries. If you were to get citizenship in a 4th country, where would it be and why? Also, can you sing any anthem of any of the 3 countries which you're a citizen of?
Yeah, I can handle the Canadian anthem, American anthem. I don't know if the British anthem, even what it is. If I was going to do a 4th one, I'm pretty sure I'd go New Zealand.
Okay.
New Zealand, or and if I couldn't get New Zealand, Australia would work. But New Zealand is the ticket.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this brings us to our final segment, Sax Talk.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, Sax Talk. So Steve-O is going to share a story of a sexual encounter, and I am going to play some sweet, sweet saxophone underneath to sax it up. You have one that comes to mind that...
Well, yeah, like, For sure. It's. I mean, today I had a sexual encounter, but the as we were standing in the fertility clinic and waiting for the reveal of my load under the microscope to determine if there was any sperm in there, I admitted something. And it's not just a story of one sexual encounter. It's a characterization of the overwhelming majority of the sexual encounters that I've had with my fiance. And this dates back, as far as we've been together. Like I said, we have 4 dogs. And I started out with 2. She started out with 1. And then we got Wendy from Peru. Only my girl's dog, Olive, is really crazy about cum. And it was just kind of weird because, like, before my vasectomy, of course, I dumped the load on my girl, like, on her back, on her butt, like, on my tummy, like, wherever it might land. I would have just taken off my boxer shorts, and so I grab the boxer shorts and I wipe up the load. I scoop it up, Totally unintentionally, like from when I throw it on the floor, we noticed my girlfriend's dog, like, going straight to it and just gobbling the cum off of the boxers, just gobbling it. And I was like, man, like, I think, like, morally, like, it's not necessarily right to be feeding my girl's dog my cum, So I was like, so I would try to bury the boxers, like, in my laundry bag, like, underneath but this dog's fucking determined, man. Like, that dog's gonna fucking tear up the floorboards to get to this fucking cum, And so I just stopped trying. I stopped trying to keep the fucking cum away from the dog. And I would, like, just be like, here you go. So my girl and I, we both wrapped our head around it. We routinely feed cum to the dog, And the thing was that the dog said the more we feed it cum, the more it wants cum. It's like a fucking... and, like... So we start even fucking with a little bit of foreplay, and the dog is just automatically on the bed, And it's like a little fucking wiener dog poodle, Like, it's got some stumpy ass legs, and there's no keeping it off the fucking bed, It's on a mission, so we can't even fuck without the dog, like, like being up there sticking its nose up my ass, like, it's like waiting for this fucking cum. And and so, like, we started locking the dog out of the bedroom. That's like before we have sex, the dog is locked out of the room. But then, right. And then after we have sex, then, like, I open up the door, I let the dog in, and now I start making the dog do tricks. Because that dog will do fucking anything when I'm holding that load on the boxers. That dog will fucking, like, dance around like a fucking ballerina, and that's what I make it do, like.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. And today is a fucking terribly sad day because today marks the time when it is no more fucking jizz for sweet little Olive. There ain't gonna be nothing to wipe. That shit's getting dumped.
I'm never letting that dog lick me again. The thing comes over, is like licking my hand.
Dude.
That's gonna be a dope bit, huh?
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
100% true too.
So, wow, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you want to plug any final things?
No, I just want you to break off the sax part and like text it to me as a file or something,
All right.
I can work on that and make it a funny bit.
Cool, not a problem. Scott, thanks so much for coming on the show. Do you want to plug anything, buddy?
OnPointLifestyle.com.
OnPointLifestyle.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at ScottRandolph83.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Love you guys.
Yeah, let's do a photo. Bye.
Jeremiah Watkins.